Here we come.
All right, let him
Welcome,
in.
welcome, folks. What was that, Tim?
Let him in.
The hordes are pouring through the doors. The
Time to
virtual
play.
Zoom doors. Here they come. We'll let folks get connected to audio, get connected to video.
Sounds good. Welcome, everybody.
All right. It's time for Tim, the obligatory weather discussion today. We've already broken 100 degrees here in the Phoenix area. Uh,
45 and sunny in Buffalo, New York, where I am.
yeah, does not compute. Does not
Yeah.
compute. Folks, come on in. Welcome. Take a look around the Zoom interface. It is slightly different for a webinar than your normal meetings, you may notice. So check out those other buttons. We'll play with them here at the start to make sure everybody understands what to push when. And I'll tell you what, let's do a brief intro and then I'll ask you all a question that you can answer in the Q&A box. Do we make sure we find that? So kicking things off, I am Eddie Gordon, a courseware designer here at Pragmatic Institute. If you were expecting a usual host of the webinars and our resident Barbie, Georgina, she couldn't make it today. You will have to make do. Uh, Old bald Ken, that's me today. But we'll do our best and it will be fantastic. If you have taken any of our courses, you have seen my work as the courseware designer. But what we'd like to do today is to have you take a look at the interface in Zoom. And we would like to distinguish, first of all, between the Q&A button and the chat button. You've probably used the chat button before. Here's what we're going to do for today. Use that chat button if you would like to comment amongst yourselves. Any sort of discussion going on, go ahead, use it. If you have a question that is specifically for our presenter, Tim, today, I'm going to have you stick that in the Q&A so that I can find it and toss it over to him when it's time for Q&A. So to kick things off today, how about, as folks are logging on here, you find the chat button, and I would like you to answer this question. Have you come across any products in the market that seem to have missed the mark on quality? Call them out by name if you feel like it. We're not going to ask you to do that, but if you want to, go ahead. Any products you feel missed the mark on quality? Maybe it's a fishing pole that broke the first time you cast it. Maybe it's that deodorant that crumbles all over the bathroom counter. It's all happened to all of us. Go ahead. Stick that in the chat. Let's see what we come up with here. The answers are flowing in. Yes, of course. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, calling out some brand names. Brave. There we go. All right. All right. Infotainment systems in cars. Yeah, yeah, relatively new. They'll get there. They'll get there. Somebody didn't like the jeans they were fitting. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Tim, you don't have to call them out by name. You have any experience with products you thought just missed the mark?
Hopefully, no Mattel products, but unfortunately, yes. I have
Certainly not.
3 kids, and my wife and I are consumers too, so can go down the laundry list.
There's some satellite radio, some interface. Yeah, user interface, man. That is near and dear to my heart as well. Yeah. Good answers, folks. Good answers. I'll tell you what, let us do a little bit of housekeeping here at the top. Once again, I'm Eddie Gordon, courseware designer at Pragmatic Institute. You will have seen my work. If you've taken any of the Pragmatic Institute courses, you will also have seen that work if you are part of the Pragmatic alumni community, where you can find lots of tools and resources for the product industry that will enhance your career. Today, we are here to talk about. We are here to talk with Tim Trapp, whose bio I will read for you in a moment. But before we get to that, let us talk about a new this is a marketing workshop. This is a workshop available from Pragmatic Institute. I get to break the news to you here. This is available for the first time right now. Product. This one is called Advanced AI Techniques for Product Marketing. If you're looking to take your prompt engineering to the next level, leverage AI best practices, or build your AI data communication strategies, this is the workshop for you. Callie is going to post a link for you to register to that down there in the chat. She has done so. We have so much interest in this one already. The spots are filling up fast, so be sure to jump on that one. The first session happens May 20th. So register as soon as you can for that one. And let us now move on to our next slide. Today, we're talking about product quality. The topic is what Mattel can teach us about how to implement key product. Yep, there you go, Tim. Jump over to that next slide there. How Mattel can teach us how to implement key product strategies for gaining competitive advantage and driving brand loyalty. That is the product alumni community where you can find lots of resources. And here we have the topic for today, what the Barbie Dream House can teach us about product quality. I'm interested, and I know Tim has been preparing hard for us. Speaking of Tim, let's embarrass him by reading his bio. It goes like this, Tim. Tim has extensive experience working with and leading multidisciplinary and multinational cross-functional teams within the product quality sphere. He specializes in developing and implementing plans and objectives that uphold the highest product quality standards, driving customer loyalty, building allegiance, and cultivating trust. How is that, Tim? Did you recognize yourself in that?
I did, Eddie. Thank you so much for that intro. Is it over to me now?
I'm going to hand you the reins, Tim. I'll tell you what we're going to do, folks. We are recording, so you can put your pencils down and listen to Tim. But importantly, if you have questions as Tim goes along, stick those over in the Q&A. I'll keep an eye on that, and then we'll have a Q&A session at the end where we'll toss your questions over to Tim. But in the meantime, the reins are yours, my friend Tim. Please make us smarter about product quality.
Thanks for that excellent intro, Eddie. And I know maybe you're not Barbie, but in the line from the movie, you are Knuff for us today. So
thank you, Tim.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to this webinar. I was extremely excited to work with Pragmatic here to speak with all of you today and share some of my experience. And Eddie did an amazing job on my bio, and I'll just sort of lend a little bit more background to myself that will set the stage for what I'm going to share with you today. So quality engineering, director, product analytics, quality distribution, logistics, which is just a nice way of saying I dabble in everything quality for Mattel. I'm actually located in Buffalo, New York, and I work predominantly out of our Fisher-Price office, but most of my team actually supports all of Mattel. So you're going to see a bunch of different examples in my talk today, concluding with the Barbie Dream House. Over 20 years experience, as you can see, and my background is actually in product development with a mechanical engineering degree. And at some point I did move over into quality, and the running joke is, why would I ever do that? Well, you're going to learn about quality today. Most people do not go to school to be in the quality field, yet many of us end up here. And funny thing is too, is that poster is from a parade that used to have in town every year called Toy Fest. So 2004 is when I started. And there's a very old toy. That toy is from well beyond 2004. The first product I worked on for Mattel was the bubble mower, which is actually pretty much the same design that's currently for sale today. So the bubble mower is very near and dear to my heart. And the science of a 1-year-old blowing bubbles is quite astounding. And then, I like to call myself a voice of consumer expert, but I definitely learned along the way. So that Little People boat, rated under 3 stars on Amazon, was called the SS Fail Boat. And I made a boat that actually didn't float. And there are many reasons I went there, but I've definitely learned my lessons along the way, which I'm very excited to share with the community today. Being from quality, there's many times we give a scary presentation. So I just want to warn everyone, this is not one of those scary presentations. This is the G-rated version of a quality presentation. And here's the agenda of what I'm going to talk about. This probably was out there in the webinar ahead of time, but we're going to cover a variety of these topics, which really concludes on the bottom one of ensuring quality success by having a consumer-centric approach to everything. So you guys put some examples in the chat of what poor quality or services. You know, if you're a consumer product company like Mattel is, hopefully we are delivering on the best possible products and consumer experiences. And hint, unlocker, quality is not just the quality team's job when it's being run successfully. It is everyone's job in the company to make sure we're really truly pleasing our consumers and delighting them. I'm just going to sort of jump into it. So implementing key elements of our product quality strategies, the product quality and safety and the experiences are key to the bedrock of trust that we establish with millions of Mattel families who are buying and playing with our products and services every day. The development and construction of new products involves numerous disciplines, multiple areas of expertise devoted to ensuring quality and safety of our products before they even go to market, as well as ensuring they meet or exceed all applicable standards. This is a long way of saying it's not just me. I'm the one that's lucky enough to get to talk to you all today, but there's a whole team of many different disciplines, of many different people around the world that go into this and making sure consumers are happy and the products are safe, because that's what they demand. And they just know it needs to be there. They trust that it's there, that's a given when they're buying our products and services. At Mattel, we have 5 phases of product quality and safety. And they go all around the whole product development cycle, including after-sales support. So I'm just going to go through a few of these. Concept review, Mattel's quality team, we guide our product designers on quality and safety standards based on the applicable regulations of that product. We're also considering consumer feedback of previous product we made, any incident reports if people called us saying something happened with their product or to them when they're using our product, as well as our internally developed protocols. This has become the basis of our product required documents, which using the product development team is using that to develop future products. We have our Medical and Scientific Safety Council, which you'll hear about later, which provides insights into parental and pediatric concerns to ensure safety while fostering innovation and creativity. Phase 2 is actually our design development. The quality team provides direction to the product development team on safety, quality, reliability, and durability. Kids drop things. And we oversee the product testing in this phase 2. This includes evaluating prototypes and conducting studies with children to understand their use of and ability to play with the product too. It not just does it need to be durable, it needs to be fun to play with. The team works with product development early in the design phase using predictive analytics to identify and solve potential issues. Our third phase, we move into product qualification. Before production start begins, we have a series of pilots that are conducted during which products are tested at various stages of completeness. At each stage, samples are drawn and tested against safety and quality requirements, and when necessary, adjustments are made to the product design and/or our manufacturing process. Our next phase is production. Each Mattel manufacturing facility frequently tests products that it produces. This testing ensures that products continue to meet our high standards established during design and development phase and are verified during product qualification. In addition, audits are performed at the source of production, and the quality team also randomly samples products from distribution centers and retailers and provides the test data to the quality engineers and manufacturing sites for continuous improvement. Phase 5 is our after-sales support. Once our products have been purchased by consumers, the quality team has an ongoing role in supporting customer satisfaction. Our Mattel Global Consumer Services team is an extension of our quality team, and they are responsible for post-market surveillance and provide feedback from our consumers to our internal teams, including feedback regarding product safety, quality, reliability, and durability. I want to highlight that maybe there are other companies where consumer services or call center is part of quality, but I think it's best in class and world class on how at Mattel, consumer services is actually part of the quality team. They are our most valuable treasure trove of information, along with online reviews and some other data sets, but we work hand in hand with the consumer services team each and every day. Mattel's quality team, you saw some of the phases of it, but Mattel's quality team is broad. And this graphic shows that our team includes engineers, product safety specialists, compliance experts, test laboratory personnel, child development experts, and others involved in our product development and manufacturing team. We are all responsible for the overall Mattel quality system, safety and compliance management, product risk management, government safety reporting, recall management, auditing of our quality systems, regulatory assurance, and ethical and social compliance in our sites. Long story short, again, this is a system of how we're ensuring quality throughout everything we do at Mattel, from when we come up with the idea to when we develop it, manufacture it, sell it to consumers, and then feeding all that information back in so that we can either take corrective action or make improvements for the future. Our global quality and product safety and our regulatory team, the quality team, is responsible for ensuring product compliance with consumer product safety requirements and regulations enacted by national, state, and worldwide government agencies. And this goes across the entire product's life cycle. Toys and the products that Mattel make we live in a highly regulated industry. But I'm going to explain how quality and creating the great experience for our consumers must go way beyond what is required only in the regulations and standards. This slide is just showing a few examples of what the regulatory standards might look like, or naming some of them. They're kind of boring. They're test procedures. They're based on incidents. If you meet just the regulation, you're not guaranteeing a great consumer experience. One example to think about, not even toys, something you buy at the dollar store or the value store needs to meet the same regulations as the same product category that maybe is coming from a premium brand. So if you're going only by the regulation, it's not going to be enough for your consumers, especially if your price point is higher than the dollar store. When we implement key elements of our product quality strategy, we must document the requirements and specifications that each product is meeting, including those regulatory standards. Some are actually voluntary, as well as internally developed safety and testing standards that we base on years of experience of producing children's products. An example of this with this Hot Wheels set is what cars that you buy must work on this track. There's no regulation that's telling you that. Your consumers are telling you that. How many times should the car go around the track before it falls off? How long should the batteries last? How loud should the toy be that it's not annoying? How easy should that button be to press? Which cars go around the loop forward? Which ones go backwards? How do kids actually load the car? Do they know forward from backwards? Should they work upside down? These are all questions that are not solely owned by the quality department, but it is our responsibility to work with the development, design, and manufacturing teams to answer and then define those requirements so that we can influence the design and manufacturing of our product to meet or exceed consumer expectations. If you really think about it, there's a lot that goes into defining a consumer product well beyond the regulation. We actually have a separate group that I mentioned before of external safety experts, including researchers, designers, engineers, physicians, and scientists that provide additional perspective to ensure that our products are meeting or exceeding our highest required standards anywhere our products are sold. We take into consideration the materials we're using, how the product may be used, intended or not intended, how the pieces fit together, how the parts move, how the electronics function, and many other factors. This just shows that even while at Mattel, we're subject matter experts in toys, and many times we can lean on our internal expertise to define things, there are times we must go outside to experts for their help, opinion, guidance, and we consult them on what their subject matter expert is. For example, if we're going to consult a doctor on a risk of a toy being an eye injury, we're not going to ask them, will this toy poke out a kid's eye? Instead, we're going to ask the doctors to understand the leading causes of eye injuries in children. Sorry, this is the G-rated presentation, so I'm not going to share you the answer to that, but maybe you can look it up on your own later. Leveraging user testing for competitive advantage. This is huge within Mattel and a big part of the quality requirements and where we come up with our rationale that goes beyond those regulatory requirements I was mentioning. At Mattel, we have our Play Labs and Imagination Center, which is where our experts are meeting the real experts, kids. They come to test their toys, products, and services, and we learn what they and their parents like and don't like. We bring in the real experts, again, kids. They start as a prototype, a model, an idea in the making, and it's here in the Play Labs where our designers, engineers, and researchers wait and watch for that magical moment when a kid or baby or parent interacts with the toy for the very first time. To me, this is the most fun test. What we're looking at here is not so much regulatory standards, like what force does it break, or what weight do I drop on it, or how much weight can it hold. What we're looking at here is the button, too hard to turn. Did that sound right? Was the speed too fast for the baby or too slow for the toddler running around? Why did they like the purple button best over the blue button? The team is taking notes. Ideas are flipped upside down, turned inside out, and we go back to the drawing board where the real experts until they approve of the toy concept. A few stats about our 3 Play Labs. We have 61 years of formalized research. More than 450 toy ideas are tested each year with over 2,500 kids and over 1,800 parents. And you can sort of see that in this facility, it looks like the most fun preschool there is. You know, we have engineers and designers behind the one-way mirror, on the floor playing with kids. And this is huge as far as formative testing. We also do a little bit more statistically based testing here. So as well as the formative testing early on, we will verify that our products are meeting the consumer expectations before we actually send them out to homes too, where we are putting at least 30 products in homes for at least 2 weeks to understand how they're being used in the final environment before we start production. Here is a video of how we're fine-tuning a design. So again, formative testing, what's coming from quality and talking a lot about testing, is really that type of testing where you're looking to shape the design. You're not applying statistics, you don't have significant sample sizes, and you want to be able to do it early and often. So in this case, this was a new product concept. This product actually looks nothing like what it is right here. This was a radio control car with a designer behind the glass and an iPad mounted on top. And we were sort of faking it out. The kid was learning coding and they were trying to navigate this robot around obstacles in the room. And what we do is we never make assumptions on how kids will interact with a product, whether how we intend it or how they unintentionally interact with the product. And what we need to do is observe the testing and observe how kids play to keep refining that consumer experience from the app to how it drives. So like I mentioned, the sound, the colors, everything, to make sure we're giving that best possible experience. I'm going to click a video. You can sort of see the aha moment that we're looking for at the end of this video.
Left. Forward. Let's go.
I think you're gonna do it.
Forward.
No.
What do you have to do?
I think
Without moving the block. Or him. What code can you put in?
I don't know.
Think about it. What could you make him do?
Left. Let's go. Left.
Then what?
Forward. Let's go. Forward.
There it is. There's that moment, right? That's when you know you have a hit on your hands. And it definitely feels like I'm in the movie Big sometimes when I'm working with this company.
Tim, you've definitely won the award for most adorable presentation ever at Pragmatic Institute. So congratulations for that.
Thanks, Eddie. I'll keep moving on. So when we actually use quality to drive brand loyalty through our successful initiatives, once a product's in the market, the quality team, like I mentioned, is looking at post-market surveillance. We're analyzing the consumer response, providing additional information to our designers and developers and engineers beyond just how many units that we sold. We're looking at the quality, like I mentioned, the reliability, the durability for future products, and then maybe even corrective action. Many of our products we make, and we make a small amount of them, and we're done making them. But play patterns are pretty timeless. We're going to make more track sets. We're going to make more dolls. We're going to make more infant preschool toys. We must learn what consumers thought and experience with our products to make better products. Like I mentioned, we're using advanced analytics. We're tracking comments on social media and blogs and websites about our brands, but also about our competitors too, because we want to measure ourselves against others so that we can constantly be better. One example is you see this monster truck playset in front of you. You know, an insight is on monster trucks. Where are they playing with it? How is this different than Hot Wheels? Do these end up in the sandbox more, in the dirt more because of the nature of monster trucks? You know, how are they played with compared to Hot Wheels that they need to have maybe different durability requirements for them and abuse requirements? That goes, again, way beyond the regulatory, but is our duty as making these products to make a product that meets the consumer's needs. And we can't just say on the monster truck, don't play in dirt, right? Because that's not really fun for the kids. So we want to make sure that we're designing a product at a price point with a feature set that the consumer is going to love. Our review process also includes monitoring customer comments and regulatory developments and guidelines and other feedback to identify potential safety issues. So in the juvenile product space, there's a lot of change going on with the regulations that have to do with juvenile products. We're monitoring that, making sure we're staying ahead of regulations. Batteries and microplastics and chemicals in toys are also some of the regulatory fronts that we're monitoring to make sure we're staying ahead and continue to make safe and compliant toys. When necessary, we will coordinate action, including safety warnings and product recalls in conjunction with governmental agencies to make sure we keep our consumers safe. So that is part of our job, to make sure we're monitoring our incidents, reporting them in a timely manner, and then taking the appropriate action if required. When we continue to, again, drive brand loyalty of our consumers to us, Mattel operates 8 accredited state-of-the-art laboratories around the world where we evaluate our toys for safety, quality, and durability. At these sites, our products go through rigorous testing to prove that they can endure even the roughest play. Again, there's a difference between what the regulatory standard is to what the kid is actually going to do with your toy. And if it's an airplane, they're flying it above your head, maybe you're going to drop it from a little bit higher, or maybe you're going to pull it at it with a little bit extra force. All these requirements go into our quality safety operating procedures, which are like test protocols and performance requirements for each product or category. All of our products, again, are subject to random testing, and every new product undergoes a rigorous safety assessment where we use and abuse potential hazards. In addition to our robust quality management system, it allows us to ensure compliance to all internal and external standards from the beginning of production, as well as throughout the entire production run and life cycle of that product. We will requalify the product if it re-enters production or makes significant changes to the materials, the design, or the manufacturing location. And we also work with retailers and government agencies to do the testing that they may require. Now, if you remember, the bubble mower was one of my first products. And I'm going to show you another video of an example of where quality maybe can be a little bit fun in defining what our requirements are. So we had an old bubble mower that the consumer said, it's great, but it doesn't blow a lot of bubbles. So we wanted to make a new bubble mower that blew a lot more bubbles. Sounds pretty simple till you need to factor in things like how fast do 1-year-olds walk? What happens when they run? How do they play with a toy? How tall is the grass that they're pushing it through? And how do they actually fill the bubble mower? Do they do it or do their parents do it? These are all things that we then morph and create into requirements that are given to our design, development, and manufacturing teams. And I'm going to play a fun video that sort of pokes fun at demonstrating that.
I'm Doug Goldie. I'm the Chief Bubble Technician here at Fisher-Price. Kids want more bubbles when they push our bubble mower. We're happy to report we've succeeded, and we have the lab results to prove it. Bubbles, bubbles, and more bubbles. On a scale of 1 to 10, bubbles.
So obviously a lot more complicated than that. And that is a real quality engineer that really works at our company, and that's the real conveyor we do the test on, sort of poking fun at what he does though. Again, I talked about monitoring consumer feedback, right? So this is an older Thomas item, and part of how we ensure the future products are better is we're looking at the old. Thomas used to always have this huge, exciting track set each and every single year, and this was one of them. This launched Thomas down that ramp across the big gap. When you actually looked at the consumer feedback, though, it was horrible. People were calling us 26 times more than other Thomases. They were returning it at a super high rate to our retailers, so our retailers weren't happy. And at 3.8 stars, that was not great, and it was totally impacting Thomas and Friends' overall brand star rating, which is something that we're monitoring. So in this case, we actually happen to get lucky and truly see the consumer experience. Now, a little secret on this product, in the design of it, Thomas comes flying down that blue ramp, and we couldn't quite get it right. So we actually shipped this from the factory with grease on the ramp to reduce the friction. Now, what would happen is that grease would get worn off, or maybe consumers would notice and actually wipe it off, and then they would have a poor performance. But this consumer figured it all out, and he posted a video to YouTube for everyone to see.
It came up with the remedy, and the remedy is to spray some
It's about to make me sneeze.
WD-40 over here.
Love how he sprays it right in front of his kid.
And when you do that, show them what happens, J-Funk, when you put an engine on it now.
Uh-oh. Oh, God.
Here's the boy Hugo. Oh, it looks like he's clearing it now.
So works every time after you coat it in WD-40. So what's important here is we looked at this and then understood the consumer behavior, and we implemented design standards. So we don't use grease on exposed track anymore. We must design it that it doesn't use that because it wears off or consumers wipe it off. So again, using the information to make your existing product or future products better is key. You must listen to your consumer, but then you must use that information to do something with it. And through the quality department, we're pretty good at writing things down and enacting process and system into doing that. So it's not only just the corrective action, solving the root cause, but putting a process in place to prevent repeat issues from happening again. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Barbie Dream House. So the Barbie Dream House was introduced in 1962, and it's been home to great play for decades. This is a product that year after year is a top seller for Mattel. It's really important to our brand, but also to the revenue and bottom line of our company. And this little case study that you're going to see in this slide and the next slide shows that paying attention to detail matters. So a little dated, but it's still very relevant here. So the 2014 version is important because that's when Mattel actually really started enacting performance requirements around our consumer feedback and our metrics. So we talked about the call center, we're looking at star rating and return rate. We looked at all of those before, but it was in a different way prior to this time. So Barbie Dreamhouse, around $200, top revenue generator for the company, but only 4 stars, right? So from a sales perspective, pretty good if we're looking just at sales, but from a consumer perspective, there was definitely opportunity there. So quality had worked with our development team and our design team and our consumer services team to understand what was the consumer experience there, what was driving a 4-star rating instead of a higher star rating. And where it really came down to was the whole consumer assembly experience. Now, this is an item that's purchased, for a birthday or sometimes around the holiday time, and comes in a huge box. It's awesome, but there's a lot to put together. And if you're putting together for 3 or 4 or, however old boy or girl, and they really want it together, and so the pressure's on mom or dad to put it together, and then you go and snap one of those white columns in the middle in the wrong place because you didn't know they're keyed and they go only a certain place. And oh, by the way, the snaps are really hard and it feels like you're going to break it when it's putting together. And then compound that with it taking 45 minutes to put together. It's not your best out of the box experience when you just paid $200. And then, oh, by the way, you get the label sheet with 89 stickers that you got to put on. And if you don't put them on right, they're crooked for forever and your daughter will never forgive you. Long story short, we looked at things from improving that consumer experience, assembly experience, improving the instructions, going from a little tiny black and white book that's folded 56 times that you fan out like a big map, to full color instructions, to instructional videos, to improving our electronic function, to finding out that consumers can't think they're missing the chandelier, but then to find out that we actually put it in the oven inside the box to protect it during shipping and transit, and that the chandelier was actually in the oven the whole time. To then creating an elevator design guide that when we make an elevator, we capture our best policies and procedures for designing the elevator, which is not to use a string and not to rely on an operator in a factory to tie the string tight or loose to hinge on the function of the elevator being good or bad. And if you actually look across these different versions, now this is just a short snippet here, we improve these things, all the things I talked about, from function to fit to the consumer experience, and it got better each version. And we make a Barbie Dreamhouse approximately every 2 years. So the star rating to go from 4 to 4.4 is huge. But what's really important is we sold more and we got a lot less complaints and we had a lot less support costs, and we weren't giving $200 refunds to consumers because they had a horrible experience. And then what happened the next time is it didn't go up as much as far as star rating, but we sold even more. And we had even lower complaints and even lower support costs. So this is really important, is that when you do it right, you may and again, it's the Barbie Dreamhouse. It's our own product. We're experts at making the Dreamhouse. We've been doing it since 1962, but there was still opportunity to get better. And it was a great product in 2014. It was just hard to put together and it had some nuances. It's an even better product as we go through each iteration. And I challenge you, you must not stop. Even if you think you're at perfection, there's still opportunity there. If you're at 4.5 stars, what's stopping you from getting to 4.6 stars? The attention to detail and then putting the process in place to make the corrective actions and have them not become repeat mistakes. It works. It works in consumer products. What I want to now show you, there we go, is this is the current one, 4.7 stars. This is amazing. And I'm going to show you a video of what the product actually looks like now. But part of how we are ensuring products in the future is by actively checking how they're in the market today and how they stand up to real life use. We must always be looking at our consumer feedback to our products. Like I mentioned, corrective actions must go through a well-defined process. The Barbie Dream House is a reoccurring platform with Mattel, and we invested significantly in improving our design and overall experience, and this led to a better product experience for consumer that translates into the win-win scenario for our consumers and Mattel, like we were selling more. Again, this is one of the most popular selling Barbie items, and we will continue to evolve the Barbie line to be reflective of the times. It remains an annual favorite. Like I said, it's often a huge purchase for our consumers for birthday or holiday. And what you're looking at here is the latest Barbie Dream House. Some of the insights of this is consumers want to be able to play with the Dream House all around the Dream House, not just on the front or the back. So this has 360-degree play for endless fun. This version features an open design, premium features, and over 75 storytelling pieces, because the Barbie Dream House has also been something about storytelling. Consumers and kids are playing with this, with Barbie, to enact stories as they play with it. And that's something that's been consistent with the Barbie Dream House since 1962. Barbie, with this product, can host the pool party of her dream in the home's spectacular 3-story, it's our tallest slide on a Barbie Dream House. And the dollhouse doubles as a pet palace, because pets are huge with kids. So in our iconic elevator, you can take your pet for a ride up and down the elevator. We have lights, we have sounds, we have an amazing consumer assembly experience. And when kids step inside this playhouse, they're never going to run out of stories to tell. I'm going to roll a quick video demonstrating the product. Definitely come a long way in 10 years since 2014. This is my conclusion. So we'll kick it back to Eddie to help with Q&A in a minute. But when you walk away from this presentation and this talk, what I want you to know is that quality should not always be just quality's problem. Everyone in your company, in your brand, on your team can own and influence a part of your product quality and service quality. If you're striving for the best consumer experience, it needs to be in everything that you do. Again, it starts with that quality and safety for Mattel is a given. You have that trust. Consumers expect us to be doing it. Mattel, even though we operate in a highly regulated industry and our consumers still, they expect and demand high quality. In the consumer product space, brand reputation is incredibly important. But we must also never remain steady. We must constantly embrace change and be looking for improvements like we did in the Barbie Dream House. And our entire company must understand the entire consumer experience to deliver the best possible product. Data is king. We're never going to have enough data. We must continue to evolve our tools and our people to leverage contemporary tools. And we will continue to embrace tools like AI and machine learning to constantly be improving. At Mattel, we're delivering high quality products, and we will embrace empowering generations to explore the wonder of childhood and reach their full potential. Thank you so much for listening to me. Let's open it up for some Q&A. We'll have Eddie take the lead.
Oh, Tim, I know you probably don't have the chat open today, but the comments are fantastic. Folks are loving it. I can tell already from the types of questions that we're getting. There are a lot of parents in the audience today, or maybe just adults that play with Barbies too. No judgment there. Let's begin some Q&A, shall we, my friend?
Sure.
Wide range of questions. I'm going to ask the glamorous one here first, the one that everybody surely was thinking about when they saw the title today. This from Normia: how has the success of the movie changed or impacted the future product designs for the dream house? Are there Ken houses or communities in development? There you go. When do we get the Ken dream house, Tim?
I'm not going to comment on that, but our global brand team, which
So you're
develops
saying there's a chance.
the new products, has worked hand in hand with the movie team. And the movie, that all that work, it was an incredible amount of work by a bunch of incredible teams that went into that. And for sure, there were huge synergies in the overall experience, because we wanted the movie to translate into the product, right? But most importantly, into the brand, right? The brand of Barbie. So hopefully you're not just buying the dream house, because maybe you're a consumer that doesn't need a dream house, but there's many things Barbie that maybe resonate with you after seeing the movie, from, a virtual Zoom background to the dream house to the Knuff sweatshirt, which we'll send you one, Eddie. And different teams, right? Because if you're marketing a movie versus marketing a product, different teams, but they work together.
Beautiful. Very exciting. Here is a question from Lauren. So I noticed that there were lots of star ratings in the presentation. Lauren would like to know, is Amazon your primary source for customer reviews, or do you have other metrics that you're looking at to gauge the customer success?
Yeah, Amazon is a huge part of it. They're a top retailer. They're a top retailer for Mattel as far as toys, and we do have online review ratings from other websites too, and other retailers. So Walmart and Target, we're able to gather those, and we're always looking at where we sell the product to globally, right? Consumers in different markets will have different nuggets of information they're going to share in online reviews. So always knowing where that comes from, knowing who your consumer is, international, domestic, like as in US, where it's actually sold, because maybe your product is not sold on Amazon, but you still have star ratings. For example, American Girl is our own brand, which we sell, and you have a star rating that you can give it on our own website. And for sure, we're looking at that.
Yeah, good. Several questions. I'm going to try and group them together here about the relationship between product safety, product standards, and release plans, timelines. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship between meeting expectations as far as timelines and roadmaps with the very important metrics of meeting quality standards and regulations? How do those affect each other?
Yeah, many people, like, there's a classic diagram of a three-legged stool, which is
right.
Cost, schedule, and quality. I would challenge that, for that stool to even remotely stand up, you need all three. You can't just pick one or two, because the stool is going to fall over. So in order to do that, we're providing our input on safety and quality as early as possible. We have quality engineers on the corporate side and the development side that are working from the ideation or concept phase. And that's kind of an art too, of when to dial it in, right? Like, do you tell them right away that they can't do the flaming rocket-powered skateboard that jumps 20 feet in the air for the 4-year-old? Or do you wait till they dial in and get the concept a little bit more refined? Now, this is where our documentation helps, though. Our quality management system, which contains our operating procedures, has the requirements by product type or category that we can then point our business partners to. So we're not making it up each and every time. We're writing it down. We have procedures, which includes the performance requirements too. For example, how many kids can fit on the chair? How many kids can sit on the ride-on? Here's your weight limit for that ride-on. What age grade is playing with it? Okay, here's your requirements based on that developmental ability of that child, that then drive, hopefully, how you design the product. So get involved early is really important. Hopefully the team stays on schedule, but it is not quality's job solely to keep the project on schedule. We do not have KPIs for our department to schedule
So
adherence.
say that again, Tim. It is not quality's job to keep the product on schedule. Did I hear you right?
Yeah, that's correct. But my boss might come see me if I'm always delaying the schedule. But
Okay.
our job is to uphold quality, right? That is our job, and we need to do so by being great business partners with our development teams, design teams, and manufacturing teams.
Interesting. All right. Here is a question from Lillian. This is interesting. How do you deal with bad quality problems with product already in the market? So, maybe Mattel has very popular products. Maybe folks are watching Mattel and they're trying to imitate some of those features, but they're not pulling them off with the same quality standards. Does that affect your marketing or your approach to the market? How would you differentiate yourself from worse quality imitators in the market?
Yeah, many of our brands are copied, which is awesome that they want to copy us, but also bad too. We have a security team that is actually going out looking at counterfeit products and where they're sold, along with our legal team. So hopefully, we can stop selling a counterfeit product on Walmart third-party seller site, or to the extent where we've worked with government agencies and gone to the factories where they're making copy versions of our products, and we shut them down, working with the appropriate agency to do so. We don't have a squad of Mattel hitmen going out shutting down rogue factories. It's something we need to watch out for, and that's where brand reputation is huge. So, being very careful with our intellectual property, being very mindful of who we're sharing things with. So like the question on the Ken house, like even if we were, I wouldn't tell you, because we don't want someone to go launch the Ken house,
Right.
that much sooner, because speed to market and time to market is key. So like I just said, quality, yes, we're not judged on schedule alone. The product life cycle of some of our products, we could have a product go from ideation to being, in store or in the online store in significantly less than a year, and it happens really fast, which is an awesome part of working in this industry too, because you will never be bored working in the consumer product space.
I imagine not. Now, your answer there called to mind the size of Mattel and some of the abilities that a larger company might have. Anonymous here asks a question: what are your recommendations for how to ensure quality like Mattel's at the micro level? So can we scale these processes down to say a 50 or 100 employee sized company? What can we learn from that?
Yeah, 100%. So like from a regulatory standpoint, it's pretty easy and self-serve. Most government agencies will have their regulations posted, but again, it goes well beyond the regulation. So, most companies probably do not have the ability to operate 8 accredited labs. It's expensive and but for us, very worthwhile to have our own lab. There are many third-party test labs that offer their services, including a consultation service if you have a product that can help you with the regulatory standards that your product is required to meet, as well as come up with a reliability test plan or a product performance test plan with you. And my recommendation, especially if you're a smaller company, is don't wait until you've designed and manufacture it to get it tested. Do some testing in the beginning, especially do some user testing. You saw our Play Lab. You can go test with people. And again, there are other consultants or third-party companies that will do that for you. They'll help you with a focus group. They'll help with that formative testing. So to me, yes, the scale allows us to do some really cool things with Mattel, but the principle of what you're doing, of doing the formative testing in the beginning, and then verifying with your performance testing before you start production, and then ensuring the quality is upheld throughout production, is really the mantra you should try and follow. And you can scale it based on the size of your business or industry.
Good. Tim, I've got a question from Joshua here, who asks, question on the interaction between the quality organization and the product management and marketing functions. You covered a lot of items that, in my experience, product managers or marketing are responsible for. How do you structure the RACI between these functions?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, and it's through collaboration. So quality owns the requirements and creating them with the rationale, but we don't actually own all the rationale. So marketing has input to, should this last for one generation of kid, or should it be handed down for all the siblings? And then how about your grandkids? Within Mattel, it's a very dynamic team environment. So the program manager maybe is owning the schedule and moving the project along. Marketing is owning the P&L of the brand and of the product. But ultimately, for those reliability requirements, it's a discussion. And then you need to make sure you write it down, because you don't want to walk away from the meeting with marketing saying, yeah, I'm going to have it last just for one kid, because then they're going to buy more products in the lifetime. And then the quality engineer goes and writes a life test where it lasts for the grandkids and the great grandkids as well. I think you need to define that, Racy, of maybe who owns it, but then who is providing input and information into what those requirements are. Because again, we all own quality. We all own the brands and the IP that we work on.
Yeah, good. Another question from Anonymous. I agree that you always have room to keep making products better and better. How do you decide when it's good enough so you can focus on other things on your products? I have to admit, when I saw your high, 4.6 star rating, I thought, wow, you did it. Good job. And then you're like, no, we got 4.7. How about that? Obviously, that takes a lot of time and effort and resources to continually push for those improvements on just one product. Any discussion on prioritizing time and resources to bring up the entire catalog?
Yeah, 100%. So we can, with our analytics and our data, we can look at what is the biggest bang for our buck. So if we drove a specific item or a subset of items complaint rate down 5%, does that have a halo effect on the whole company? Right. So we can look at, like, I'll say the worst offenders. So we have triggers. And we don't just do it across all of Mattel, because for sure you're going to return more higher price items or higher complexity items. So we're looking within the different brand teams or product platforms, right? We're not comparing the 99-cent Hot Wheels to the $200 Dreamhouse. So we have internal metrics and internal triggers that vary based on the brand and team. And then we're trending those too. So if we have a team that's sort of topping out and plateauing, yeah, we're going to put less resources into it and put our resources more in the bang for the buck of what can we get from 4.6 to 4.7 stars. And what does that mean is hopefully more sales and more happy consumers. So
can you talk more about this triggers idea? These are certain products or certain KPIs that you're looking at that represent the larger catalog in some way.
Yeah,
and so
those are our we'll call it our metrics of consumer feedback. So things like star rating, things like the number of calls into our call center or emails or chat, to then returns at retail. So when you bring a product back, you can just return it at most retailers, and you can sort of, sometimes they take note of why it was returned, sometimes they don't. So for anyone on this call, if you can provide feedback for why you return an item, a manufacturer will find it very valuable, because that is the most unknown thing to us. When something gets returned to the store, quite oftentimes we know it was returned, but we don't know why. And that's where we need to look at other metrics and other sources of data to help us, right? And it might be doing an in-store check, or we actually go to the store and see, oh my gosh, the batteries are dead and no one's buying them because the batteries are dead. That would never show up in a star rating or through a call center, because the purchase never actually happened. So we have different triggers for all of our different KPIs. Sorry, long answer to your question.
No, brilliant. Good. Tim, we have so many questions coming in, and we're not going to get to all of them today. If folks would like to reach out and ask you any of these more important questions, is there a place where they could do so?
Yeah, we can leave my contact with Pragmatic, and we'll figure that out in the back.
We'll do that, and we'll send it out in a follow-up email afterwards, so that we can get to some more of these questions. Gang, I'm so sorry. As usual, we have more questions than we have time, but that's life, is it not? Let us then very quickly point out that Callie has kindly posted in the chat the link to the Advanced AI Techniques for Product Marketing That is the new workshop that is coming up. Be sure to click on that and register as spaces are filling quickly. Tim, you have kindly put that up on the slide. Thank you so much. And everyone, this has been so wonderful. I know that I'm taking things that I'm going to implement into our processes already. Tim, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today, for making us all smarter on this particular topic. It has been wonderful. Gang, we will see you all again next time. You can join us for the next in the product chat series. That one happens May 30th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see you all there. Thanks, everyone.